guys, welcome to another episode of the 5 F's to Love. So, if you didn't watch, you know tonight is Real Talk with the Men. So, tonight we're going to have a conversation that often women have, and sometimes women have this conversation. Men have the conversation as well around how do men show up for you when you're the one. I think a lot of times women just assume when a guy is really nice that he feels that you're the one, or he could just be a gentleman and he knows how to treat a lady. And it doesn't mean necessarily you're the one. So tonight we have our men to tell us the truth from their perspective. So you guys know who we have on the show. We've got Reverend Gaylon. So welcome, Reverend Gaylon. How are you?
I'm doing well. About yourself? I'm glad to be
I'm doing great. So, women are going to be looking to you tonight to give like the sensible responses to what's happening in this world, because I'm going to tell you, as a woman, I have made some mistakes in that perspective, thinking that I was the one, right? Because he was such a really good guy. And so I kind of misread the signs. So, women are going to be looking to you to give that clarity. And of course, you guys know we have Briant. And Briant, we all love you because you're the adorable one. We love your romantic perspective. You always have that romantic perspective that the women love. So I don't know. I don't flip tonight though. Don't throw me any surprises, because we have Cedric and we never know what Cedric is gonna say. So which is often quite shocking. Hey Cedric, how are you?
Hey, love. Hi. Good to see you. The brothers. Yes.
So you see how Brian started out laughing when I said he's the romantic sweet one?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit concerned about that tonight. It may go a little sideways. We may have to stop for a moment.
We just...
Okay. What were you saying, Cedric?
No, I'm just trying to figure out why you telling.
Because he's the adorable one. I'm going to tell you, so ladies, we've got someone new, and I'm going to say he's absolutely a rock star. Ken is just an amazing guy, what he does with his charity, and what he does in his community. He's all about self-improvement and focusing on yourself, and then you can extend yourself into the world when you better yourself. So I think he's absolutely a rock star. So Ken, welcome to Real Talk with the Men on 5 F's to Love. I think you're a great addition. Although I'm a little nervous because with you and Cedric, I may be drinking a lot. I may have to get another bottle of wine.
Well, we like to have a little fun out here. I'm down here in Miami, so you gotta have a little fun. You gotta have a little tequila in your glass from time to time. So
that's right.
Okay, I like the fact that you're in Miami. I think that gives a definite different perspective for women, because Miami is more like a Hollywood, a Southern Hollywood, so it definitely gives a different perspective. So you guys know our conversation tonight is basically how you show up for a woman when you know that she's the one. So you know what? I'm going to start with my first question. Often I go out of order because I really want to get to the meats and the potatoes. But the first question I'm going to start off with is, when you're genuinely interested in someone, what does that look like? What does that look like?
Well, really for me, it gets to a point where, I'm really big on, transparency and just a level of honesty and communication. So, when I really have a level of interest with somebody, I just make sure all that's very clear. I make sure I'm very transparent with my life and how I operate and my wants and my needs. And I operate with that, on both sides. I want to know, what's her wants and needs and what's mine. And then once you're able to connect that up, then it's I look for that, we're able to sync together and do that properly. That's what I look for. If you're not looking to do this long term, then you may not really care about the other side. You might really care about that situation. But when you do, for me, I want to make sure that level is there because I'm looking for longevity.
Okay, ladies, you heard Ken is new, and by the way, he is single. So, Reverend Gaylon, what's your perspective on this? What's your genuinely interest in someone? What does that look like?
Well, I'm reading the sentence from a different perspective. First of all, I'm reading the words genuinely interested.
Mm-hmm.
But my brain is saying, in what? For what?
I like that.
So because if you don't answer for what or in what, then you can have some misunderstandings. Because a guy can be genuinely interested in a female for purposes other than wanting to get a wife. And I think we need to be mindful of that. You know, the old saying, some people come in your life for a reason, some for a season, and some for a lifetime. Right. It's very present when you start talking about genuinely interested. Now, when you start talking, so if you talk about genuinely interested in a person wanting a long-term relationship that possibly can end up in marriage, then what that looks like, you know, as Ken said earlier, is not only communication and wanting to understand how to take care of their needs as they take care of your needs. In other words, both needs are being met. But I also think there's a conversation around at those early stages. This can be a great thing, and this also can be a blind spot. Okay. When you're genuinely interested in someone initially, you give a whole lot of grace. Sometimes that's great, and sometimes it makes you miss the yellow alerts. Maybe not red alerts yet, but yellow alerts are pause. Slow
oh my gosh, Reverend Gaylon, don't give away my question number 3 already.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna leave it there then.
Don't give it away. So Brian, I mean, you're like the romantic one, right? So what do you, when you're genuinely interested in, and to Reverend's point, in what? But this is the question is, you know, how are you going to show up for the person when they're the one? Like, what do you genuinely do when you're interested?
Like Rev said, in what? I mean, in the things I've been through, I mean, it's true. Because
guys, the show topic is when they're the one.
I understand that. But like you said, well, like Rev said, clarify, in what? Are you interested in me helping you up?
They're the one, Brian.
Okay, if they're the one. If I know they're the one, there got to be some signs. There got to be some chemistry. There got to be, communication got to be there. You got to be transparent. And I got to feel something. I'm gonna go to God. God, is this the room you sent for me? I need some other sign. I need somebody to let me know.
Oh my gosh, Brian, what happened to you? Did they get to you and contaminate you? You're so adorable.
Hey, I mean, when she's the one, I'm all in. But hey, brother been hurt, and I'm cautious. I'm being real. I'm cautious. I am very cautious.
Okay, so ladies. Look at what happens when a guy gets trampled over. He turns from sweetness to this, and I'm upset. I'm upset with this right now.
I feel sweet. I will give everything I got when she's the one. I have no problem.
Okay, that's what I want to hear. So
I have no problem. I mean, I open up. There's no bounds. I give everything I have.
And that's what I needed to hear. The rest of it, I'm a little bit concerned. I think they contaminated you. So Cedric, I don't know what you're gonna say, but please don't let us start off with a chandelier.
No,
we never let that chandelier thing
go. No,
Gotta hear about this later.
That's a different show. No, I answer your calls. But hold on. Think about it though. How many calls do we send to voicemail? How many calls a day do we send to voicemail? Okay, we love them, but we ain't trying to do that right now. Okay, so if I'm feeling you, I'm answering your call, and then life continues and everything you guys said.
Sometimes, Cedric, I don't even know what to think about what you say. But let me tell you this right now. Says, when a man says he is too busy to speak or meet up consistently, is that a sure sign of lack of interest in a long-term relationship?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
No,
okay,
absolutely right.
Because you have to understand. No, you have to understand what type of man you have, right? You know, if you really have a man that has, like me, I have my hands. I'm a heavy investor. I have my hands in many different businesses, etc. Humbly, it's not even about a woman. This is with friends, family, etc. I'm massively busy. I humbly, I love and appreciate when a woman just understands that respectfully that I am busy and they have a level of understanding. Some people, it doesn't matter if it's a friend, family member, etc., or a lady, if they're not understanding, then they might lose me because it's like I'm really building things. I'm running major companies, etc. And if you don't have a level of understanding and of that, then you're not for me because you're another problem and you're starting something beautiful. Well, I'm not out here messing with women. I'm not here doing something. I'm here working hard and doing something positive to build something positive for the community, etc. So that's important. But if you understand the man you have. Now, if you have a man that he's maybe not doing much, etc., and he's not doing the stuff, then maybe So.
But if she fine though, You go there.
But
if she fine though, brother.
But let me just jump in on this.
We've been in the room a little bit.
Reverend, enough of you. Reverend, go ahead.
When men are builders, like what you just said, giving that example, if they're consistent about building their careers and they don't have time to build their personal lives, that's a choice. I'm not coming for you. I'm speaking in general, but just a couple of decades of doing marriage counseling with couples, premarital counseling. I've seen the workaholic man and the workaholic woman across the board. And one of the things that has to come into play in that conversation really is this. People want things that they don't have room for. Let me rephrase that. People want things that they haven't made room for. Because anything that matters to a person, they make room for.
Right.
So I think the real issue comes into play is I want a thing, but I don't want to do what it takes to maintain it. So if I went and bought a Lamborghini and then I wouldn't and parked it in the worst ghetto neighborhood in Chicago, I'm not necessarily putting it in the best place for it to be able to prosper. Okay, I come back, the wheels are gone, doors are gone, this, that, and other. I really wanted a Lamborghini, but did I really have the space for a Lamborghini? Well, I'm just saying. I'm gonna leave it there.
I don't even know what to say, Reverend. I like your perspective. I really do. Okay, so our next question is: when a woman gives you a little extra attitude, but gives you everything on your checklist, how do you accommodate her?
Well, you mean attitude in a bad way, like?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna touch on this for a second because one thing I've learned in my life is that there's ego and pride. I found in my life is quite useless. If you really care about somebody, family, friends, etc., if you can't drop your ego and pride for your families and friends, then you're really not there, right? And so at the end of the day, and I don't know what attitude exactly is meaning in this question, but
attitude means the woman that's got attitude all the time. Like she wants to argue, she's picking at things, but she does everything else. She does all the other things.
Well, in the words of Plies, I ain't trying to argue, but you're not. No, but it's a terrible day when you're quoting Plies. I don't mean that, but I'm saying.
No, shoe fly.
Not saying anything bad about him, but all just arguments, unnecessary arguments, for me, and I'm just I'm a very obscure individual. I look for a level of peace in my life. If when I come to somebody's life, I bring peace, and they're not bringing peace back. Then what's the situation? That's the first. You said check all the boxes. That's the first box. That's the first box.
I can't check all the boxes.
That's the first box.
Okay, so Brian, let me ask you the question: has there ever been a situation where you did put up with the extraness of a woman because she checked all the other boxes?
Oh yeah. One of the biggest mistakes that I made too. Because the thing is, I'm just being real. But
it was the most fun you had too.
Yeah, because I was looking at the booty, hips, and the fingers. I was looking at all that stuff. That's what I was looking at. I wasn't looking at the heart. I wasn't looking at her motives. I wasn't looking at her who she really was. Because you put up with those things when that's what you want. But like Gaylon said, Reverend said, there may be some other signs there that you're not paying attention to. You need to pay attention to those signs.
But this is the problem. And I already know what Cedric's going to say, because Cedric's attitude is if you find you might get a little extra. I know Cedric. I don't even need to ask him. So the problem is that you have women who say, well, I'm not extra. Like, I'm a good person. I'm not going to do the extra. And I may be missing something on the checklist. Well, why would you choose her over me when I'm a good person? And all the men, so you guys keep saying it's not about this and it's not about that, but it is about a way a woman looks. And you will put up with extra when they look amazing. You will do that. Right? So really, you're not being honest.
Well, I think it depends. First of all, again, let's go back to genuinely interested in what and for what.
Okay, like you want to marry this person. And,
okay,
and
now
I've seen men, Reverend, I've seen men date women for years, 3-4 years, never marry them, put up with a lot of crap, but they'll stay with them because they're like, she's beautiful. And she does this for me. She does that for me.
So that person got married for the trophy wife.
Perhaps.
And the perception of it or the ego stroke. And Ken just talked about, hey, if you can't pull that ego back, it doesn't make a difference the male or the female. If you can't pull the ego back, then you're building on something that's just not substantial.
Okay, but what do you say to women who are like the average woman who's like, I'm a good person, I'm attractive, I got a good job, I'm a good housekeeper, I can cook, but you guys will pass her up, for the supermodel chick who can't do a darn thing but screw you.
But that's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true. I mean, we get that bad rap. That's the the marketing campaign that's put out. But it is. It's the marketing campaign.
I'm sorry. How many athletes do you know that's married to an average woman? How many successful men do you know that's married to an average woman?
Athletes and successful men.
No. Successful men.
We are the 10%.
No, but let me tell you about 10%. You got the guys who are not in the 10% who are now mimicking that buffoonery.
Well, I don't know if they can true. I'm not sure if they have the tools to actually mimic it, but
no, they're mimicking it. Let me tell you this. They're doing what you're doing on a Saks Fifth Avenue, Neiman Marcus. They're doing it at a Kmart Target level, but they're still doing it. It doesn't make a difference of the wallet. They're still making women feel like they are insufficient in what they're doing.
I'm really big on mentality and ideology, right? So at the end of the day, you have different So to blanket policy all men will probably be incorrect, and to blanket policy all women is probably incorrect as well, right? Because just because you're a woman, you're this gender, you are automatically this. Not right? There's different cultures, there's different subcultures and things. And so what I will say, if I was a lady and I was looking for a situation, I would look and say, okay, what do I want, right? And then you look at the different groups, right? Because there's different cultures and subcultures, and that might fit your wants and needs. Because there's one culture that cares. Right in Africa, the bigger a man is, right, the more wealth, the more attractive, right? And other parts of the world is like, no, I want you, boom, boom. You got to be buff. You got to be cooked. Right? So
okay, but also in Africa, you have to look the same thing. African women are beloved when they're got some meat on their bones. But now in America, y'all want some slim goodies.
But your blanket policy, you're doing the blanket policy, which I don't think
it's not blanket policy. I'm telling you,
Chris. Chris, if I might interject, you kicking up dust and it ain't going nowhere.
Okay,
because the bottom line is people do what they want to do,
correct,
with who they want to do it with. For whatever reason.
Cedric, and let me just say this.
Now, if you think you're more than that, and you went to me, don't get mad at me.
No, it's not that, Cedric. Remember, I'm gonna take you back to when you and I went out, me, you, and Wallace, and there was a woman there, and the first thing y'all said, I'm looking at y'all faces, y'all was like, and I said, what are y'all looking at? You said she got a fake ass. That woman paid that money for that fake ass because she wanted a man to give her attention. Because you all always say y'all like a big butt and a smile. So she went and got a big butt. But now you want to talk about her big butt.
She was
Listen, she look good. God had to give it to you. Man couldn't buy it. No. So that was a man bought ass. We like God given ass.
Did it look good? Let's get back to that question.
Okay? That was a man made ass. No.
Cedric. Brian asked you a question.
Yeah, listen, wait. Cedric said he wanted the booty from the Lord. Though.
I can't do it.
I'm sorry,
I can't take Cedric. Okay, Reggie. Hi, Reggie. So just to let you guys know, Reggie is my original co-host. He's from Delaware State, where we both went to school. And he's from Delaware, but he now lives in North Carolina. So hey, Reggie. So Reggie says, when you're young, you look for all that you want in a person. When you're older, you look for all that you want in a person. And now you add to that another list of all that you don't want in a person.
Okay.
All right, do y'all understand that?
It's bottom lines.
Okay, so Reverend, what are you saying, Gaylon?
It's just bottom lines, non-negotiable, unalterable terms. Talked about this on a previous podcast. That everybody should have non-negotiable, unalterable terms.
Okay.
Great things. All right. So what Reginald is basically saying is, not only do you have a list of things you want, but these are deal breakers. I can't get past these. And that's called wisdom.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay,
your whole relationship can't be deal breakers. If you got 50 deal breakers, then you're probably out of alignment, and you just need to go look in the mirror and marry yourself.
Yeah, they ain't the one.
But you know what, Reverend, we hear this all the time from me. My deal breakers are basic. It's just basic stuff.
We already know.
Brian, don't talk about my deal breakers because
we know what you're gonna say.
Okay,
you say the deal breakers every podcast.
But the point is, they're my deal breakers.
Disclaimer. That's a disclaimer.
Okay, fine. Anything that I say and do on my own podcast, the brand cannot be held responsible for. There you go. So listen, the bottom line for me, I do have deal breakers. At the age of 50, the first question I ask is, are you paying child support? That'll tell me if you got a young girl. I don't listen. I'm not paying child support on a 7-year-old because that means for the rest of my life.
You too serious. The hell no.
I need to know
Come on now.
No.
You said the very first question. Okay, no, check, please.
Oh, Lord. This is real talk. At 50,
right,
if you have a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old, number one, that means I got to deal with some 20 or 30-year-old woman for the rest of my life.
Okay.
That's real.
I need to know what I'm getting into. Are you paying child support? The second thing is, does your penis work? We already know that. I need to know if it's working on a regular basis.
That all depends on what you're wearing.
Oh no, Zach, let me tell you something. Sometimes it don't. Sometimes it just don't work. Right?
Yes.
Right. And the other thing is, I need to know beyond that, like, do you have money on the books? I need to know if I don't want to have to support you in your lifestyle.
But I'm saying, you will scare a man away with all that.
I have a question, though. You brought up something that I'm curious. I have a question.
What?
So if you ask the child support, that's I respect the question, and then you also ask if you have money in the books. You said these are the two top questions you asked right away, right?
Oh no. My top two is, does your penis work? That's number 2 after child support.
So if you would reverse these situations, if I say, hey, listen, mama, baby daddies, how much money do you make? Does it work down there?
That's not my question.
It would be really obscure questions for a man to ask, right?
Right.
And sometimes you have these double standards where a woman could come saying some outlandish, like I just met you. How about hello, hi, how you doing?
Let me tell you something.
But let me say, so some people say that, hey, listen, a woman will say, hey man, I really want a man. I want to know his personality. So if you want to know my personality, you want to know my heart, ask me about that. But you're asking about money, this, that.
No,
this,
I'm asking you
everything besides who I am. So maybe then a man's gonna sit back and say, well, okay, this is the situation. Is this a transactional situation? If this is what it is, then maybe I have to step back. So you might rub a good man, a decent man. You might rub him a little bit the wrong way by approaching it immediately in that manner.
All right, and guess what, Ken? And I'm okay with that because my thing is I'm not gonna get in. And then I find out I got little Chica over here who's 25 with your 3-year-old. Right? And I'm all whipped up. I'm all whipped up in that love moment.
But guess what? If you're madly in love with this guy, he touches all the boxes. He really treats you properly. And gives you love. Whatever Chicos he has doesn't have. Now me, I don't have kids. But if a person, man or woman, have kids and it fits, then why should that really be a massive problem?
I'm out. Unless the kid is in high school.
I respect that.
I mean, I'm just real talk. I'm a single mom. I raised my kid. I don't want to raise no more. That's just real talk for me. I need to know if you got some little chicos over there. Okay, that's number one.
That right. You have that right.
Look, suave mente, best I mean.
And the reason why I said I don't want your money. I need to know that you can financially take care of yourself. And I don't like playing games with people because sometimes they give you their representative and it's not really what's happening. Okay, so Anissa says, I am not sure how I feel about this conversation. At least you can differentiate between a silicone rear and one that is authentic red beans and cornbread. That's
I like
you.
That. That's funny. That's a good one.
That's your girl Cook.
I happen to love cornbread personally. So
she coming at me?
She coming at you, Cedric.
What she say? Hold on.
You need to read our comments.
Oh, okay. Yeah, whatever. No, I can tell the difference. I just have to tell them.
All right, so Ken, would you date somebody with an artificial butt?
Listen, that doesn't matter to me. Listen, at the end of the day, like I said, I really look for character and personality personally. That's what I really look for, honestly. So I mean, all the extra stuff, whatever, it's not something that, how am I gonna judge somebody based on what they did, on how they felt at that time, right?
Right.
We've all done things that we felt at a certain time that doesn't encompass of who we are for eternity, correct?
Correct.
So if you got, I mean, I don't have any tattoos, but if you went and got a tattoo when you're 18, 19, I'm going to judge you on a tramp stamp and saying, oh, you're automatically this for the rest of your life because you got this when you felt that way at a certain young age. That's kind of me right there. That's not being I'm big on self-development, and that's not an evolved way to think for me personally.
Okay, well, guys, we got to go to a quick commercial break. And we'll be right back after this commercial.
All right.
I gotta tell you something I could do. I could be running around chasing you, but I won't.
Hey guys, welcome back. So our first half, if you're just joining us right now, and ladies, you're going to have to play it back. We really talked about how a man shows up for you when he's really into you, when you're the one. And I think a lot of times as women, we misunderstand a man's actions directed towards us. So you know me, I'm very transparent and I ask the real questions because we have a group of amazing men. So you guys know Reverend Gaylon is here, and he's the one that's keeping all the glue together on the show. So you know you need to ask a question, and it's Reverend Gaylon. Briant is my used to be sweetie pie. I don't know what's happening to him.
I'm still sweet.
Contaminated by guess who? Cedric is contaminating Briant. And I just want to say Ken is new to the podcast, but he's just as bad as Cedric.
Hello.
So I don't know what's happening.
Cedric is a great guy.
I mean, of course you would say that. You guys are like from the same barrel.
I
just want to go back to a couple comments because they start coming in. So Carlitos Way said a man will tend to answer a child support question honestly. And I'm going to be honest with you, men they've never had a problem with me asking them, like, do you have any toddler children? And normally what I ask, what are the ages of your children? And then I'll say, is that from your ex-wife or a girlfriend? How's that relationship with them? So I'm not that raw, Ken, just like, what's up? You got, some little predators out there or something. And then she also said, that's why women ask that question on a first date. We ask it because that means, so the difference is, and let me explain to you, Cedric, and we're going to talk about this, not in this podcast, but in another. The problem is that when you end up being the stepmom, you take on more responsibility than what you intend to. And I'll say that because I was in that role at one point. I was the stepmom. And I was the one making the dinner, doing the baths, dressing him, and all. It was a lot. And it was like, okay, I wasn't really planning for this, right? So you need to know what you're getting into. And instead of, oh, well, I can only see you every other weekend, and you're trying to figure out why, thinking they're at work. No, they got their kid every other weekend, and they're waiting to pop it on you. I don't like surprises. That's too much.
And I agree with that, man. And that touches on my main thing, which is like my main thing of overall honesty and transparency overall. So yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
And I like and I'll tell you, as a single mom, when I was dating, and by the way, Carlito's Way said the child support question is not about money. It's really not. And I'm glad she clarified that. It's not about money. I will tell you, as a single mom, I told people right away, I have a son. He's a priority for me right now. And this is where you fit in. Like I told people exactly where they fit in. When he's gone for the summer, you can have all of me. When he comes back, then I'm going to see you on the weekends. And that's all I can do. Like, because during the week, you can't be in the house with me. Because I didn't believe in that unless it was a committed relationship. My son didn't need to see you exiting my house at 5 a.m. That's not a good look, right?
Correct.
And I'm grateful I did that because, my son still thinks I'm a military mom, right?
So
thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Look at you, King. I'm trying to get on my good side now. You and Cedric are road dogs.
I'm just trying to figure out, did you just admit to a booty call?
No, I did not admit to a booty call, Cedric. No, I did not.
That's what it sounded like to me.
You know what, Cedric? If my son is watching Midget, I did not commit to that booty call, honey. Okay, so she said Ken is holding his own. Welcome aboard. That came from Cook.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Carlito's Way, she is stuck on that child support. She said the question is about existing relationships. You better tell them, Carlito's Way.
Sure is.
I understand that. I respect that.
And Reggie says, Ken, how real can a person be if they're using fake beauty attractions?
Reginald, listen.
Get up, Reggie.
You're right. You're so right.
I don't want to go so deep. I'm gonna go deep now. I don't want to do it, but I'm gonna try. Cedric, rock me now. I'm gonna say something and I'll bring it back. Just for fun. Walk me through this path for a quick second, right? Now think about for a second, right? One thing I want to say I really love and respect about women, they always say women are the brain, men are the muscle. Meaning women, you guys are intelligent, you guys use this because you guys have this, right? The marketing campaigns that have been out are amazing because women are honestly geniuses. They're really smart, they're beautiful, and I love it. And men, they get. So I'll just get to the point. So what's the situation with that question right there, right? So, the whole thing is that, there's a marketing campaign that goes around that says men lie, right? There's a lot of good men that don't lie, keep it really truth and transparent. I'm one of them. I'm very, very, with the transparency. I'm massive.
You're in the 10%. You're in the 10%. I'm only kidding.
No, thank you though. Essentially though, but it's funny, right? Because I can make a funny joke, right? So say if a man lies, right? But if you come with fake eyelashes, fake breasts, fake booty, fake
hair,
waist training, and the fake hair, and fake everything. And then you make a man fall. Oh, sorry. And then are you seeing the Instagram, the social media vehicles where they do the super makeup where they just become a whole different being, right?
Right.
And it's like you're all fake, which essentially is all a lie. Essentially,
fake cash.
It's like, damn, who's really lying, right? But it's a funny joke, and I just so. I understand, right? I'm not sitting here trying to bash anybody, most definitely.
Right.
But at the end of the day, for me personally, myself, I'm really big on I'm talking if I'm with a lady or whatnot, just like, hey, listen, I say, listen, I like natural beauty. Mm-hmm. I don't. So first of all, I don't need or want the fake stuff. Some people look for that. I respect that. It's just not my vibe. So natural beauty is my thing. So when you're that and you have it that way, I'm going to say, listen, you look gorgeous. You look beautiful without makeup. You wake up in the morning, listen, you look beautiful without makeup. You don't need to wear it. Right? I'm just going to give love and support, nonstop.
And that's really good of you. But some women need makeup. That's all I got to say. Okay.
And say, look, that's not even the man bash a woman. That's woman bash a woman. We don't talk about that.
That's all reality. Okay, so Reverend Gaylon, I'm going to pose this question.
Look at Cedric.
So, Reverend Gaylon, back in the day before you were married, this is before you were married. Are you
clarify that?
Were you turned off when women?
No, that's amazing. I'll go, Rev. Talk, Rev.
So, Reverend Gaylon, were you turned off when women pursued you and they were aggressive?
No, I think there's a difference between being aggressive and disrespectful.
Okay.
And as long as you long as the line isn't crossed. Well, especially in my field, I have a field where you shouldn't be clowning, but just in general, aggressive just means you know what you want. I respect people who know what they want.
Correct.
Because if you have an intention, you should go after it. I'm a big believer. I tell people, in classes, coaching, ministry, whatever, don't be the person who tells yourself no.
I like that.
Okay, because you're going to bump into enough no's in the world. Why are you telling yourself no? So if you see someone that you feel as though is worthy of pursuit, go for it. Now, the worst thing they can say is no. Again, as long as it doesn't step over to the line of disrespect or a person acts like a fool to try to get your attention.
Okay, so guys, I also want to let you know, and I'll let Reverend Gaylon finish. He does an amazing podcast every Wednesday called Truth Transform. And Reverend Gaylon, can you let people know more about it so they can tune into your amazing podcast?
Yeah, sure. So I've been doing a podcast for the last 10 years called Truth Transforms. It's on unityonlineradio.org. You can also pull it up on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, all those apps that carry podcasts. And basically what I do is I teach practical spirituality and metaphysics for better living. So in other words, I'm teaching spiritual principles, universal laws, consciousness transformation. How do you apply that to a better life, whether that's achievement of goals, whether it's your own, spiritual awakening, healing of your body, the creation of or the use of spiritual principles for wealth, metaphysical Bible interpretation. I cover pretty much the whole gambit. So currently I'm teaching Seed Time and Harvest, which is a book from Neville Goddard, who was a 20th century mystic. And basically is how does consciousness or awareness show up as form or experience in your life? So I'm teaching the process of how that happens.
Okay, and I'm going to tell you guys, you need to check him out. And we're going to put the link on all of our social media sites with a promo for his podcast that you guys can click the link any Wednesday and listen to his podcast. It's absolutely amazing. I've been on his podcast as a guest, and it was an awesome experience. But I also enjoy his teaching, so you can see him sometimes on Sunday, and that will be Christ Universal Temple in Chicago, where he is the assistant pastor. And I'm just going to say he does all my counseling for me. He keeps me on a straight and narrow for sure, and I appreciate that. So, Brian, I need my adorable Brian, the romantic guy, not the one that Cedric and Ken are now contaminating.
All right, Brian. Yeah, but you pressure.
Exactly. So I need to know, when a woman pursues you and she's aggressive or non-aggressive, how does that make you feel?
It's not the norm for me, but if a woman pursues me, it does make me stop in my tracks and maybe it's a turn on to me, because it's not, like I said, not the norm. It's not the norm. And
all right. So it's not the norm for you, and it makes you kind of stand up and pay attention. Cedric, what about you?
What was the question again?
Cedric, really?
Too much wine. Too much wine.
Are you turned off?
Too much wine.
Really?
You took so long. Just tell me the question and answer. Tell me again. You took so long.
Are you turned off when women pursue you aggressively or non-aggressively?
Not turned off, but just give me enough to make me want to, come and get it. I don't like aggressive women. No.
Okay.
Entice me. So give me enough to make me want to come get it. Pursue you.
Come get it. Okay, Kim, what about you? Are you turned off by aggressive?
No. When it comes to this question, I don't believe in that whole, the whole predator thing is fine, but no, I mean, personally, it's
we
just
didn't say predator. We said aggressive or non-aggressive. We got
Hold on. You didn't understand what I said when I say mostly, like the campaign is the man is supposed to be the predator, is supposed to go after the woman, right? I'm saying it's beautiful when a woman actually just be real and says, "Hey, I like you." Hey, honestly, I'm gonna tell you a very honest thing. I have never gone off a woman my entire life. Humbly, never ever have done it. So for this question, I say honestly, I like it because it's just a woman being honest and truthful what she wants. I've never done it in my entire life. I don't think I ever will. Right. Okay. So my thing is just that, like, you know, it's just a mutual. It's always been for me, my entire life has always been mutual. It's been just real. Like, hey, she's like, hey, I like you. This is the play. I was like, okay, you know, I see what's up, and that's very simple. ABC. Okay. It's nothing. It doesn't have to be that double standard. So when I say predator, is saying the marketing campaign of a man has to be the one to hunt and
gotcha.
Gazelle. That's what I meant.
Okay, so our next question is question number 5. Have you actively pursued a woman thinking she was the one, later to find out she was not the one? How did you communicate your exit?
Okay, y'all want me
so I'm gonna come to you, but first I'm gonna go to Briant, and then I'm gonna go to Reverend. So Briant, have you ever been in that situation?
I want to hear Cedric before me, please.
Okay, Reverend. Briant.
Yeah, I did. I mean, what I did was, how did I go about it?
Yeah.
I first played shy. I mean, I kind of threw the bone out there, and I'll never forget, it was my niece went up to the young lady and said, "Oh, my uncle likes you." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, why'd you do that?" And ended up numbers being exchanged, and we ended up going out, getting to know one another. But it was
did you think she was the one?
Yeah, I thought she was the one. I thought she was the one. Church girl in church and everything. I said,
okay. So how did you plan your exit though? How did you plan your exit when you found out she wasn't the one?
Well, there were flags all along the way. There were as Gaylon said, there were non-negotiables that showed up. They were there all along, and I was kind of, it's gonna change. It's not gonna be. It's not gonna.
But how did you plan your exit?
Divorce. That's how I planned my exit.
Okay, thank you.
The whole marriage. Wow. All right. Interesting.
So, Reverend Gaylon, you get a lot of people who come to you for counseling for marriage. Have you ever been in a situation where you're counseling a couple and one of them realizes this is not the one and they need to plan their exit? How does that look for them?
Well, actually, I've recently dealt with that situation with a couple, and you know, I struggle because I'm a very direct person, but as a minister, you can't give direct advice because people just want to just say, I did it because the minister told me. But this is what I try to help people get to. Don't be stupid. You knew and you've known for a while, this isn't the person. You all are just not compatible, and you're not willing to do the work to become compatible. I don't believe, let me just put this right out there, Christine. I believe we create a one. We don't necessarily find the one. Those are totally different things.
Yeah.
You know, because this myth isn't sold to men as much as it's sold to women. That there's the perfect person for you. Nonsense. Okay. The question comes into play is, and Ken started to show off with it: communication, transparency, the humbleness, pushing back the ego. These are things that allow the one to be created in a space, so you become the one for each other. It's not that this is predestined, predetermined by God, universal, whatever term you want to use, as much as energetically you vibe together. Now, once you get past the energetically you vibe together, then you have to go to the stage of, can we live together? Can we grow together? Can we build together? What ends up happening is, once people realize that that's not the case,
right.
Listen, Rev is preaching.
Right. Once they realize that that's not the case, they don't have an exit strategy. So what I try to do is show them that either the exit strategy is going to be smooth or it's going to be tough. It's sort of like that jailhouse video from MSNBC back in the day. They spoofed it on the Boondocks. We can do this the easy way, but we can do this the hard way. It's still going to happen. Like seriously, you can exit with grace, or you can exit with anger, frustration, and fury. Brokenness, depression, and things, all the things that you don't want to go through. Just because, and hear me when I say this so I can wrap this up. when you are going this way,
right,
and it's clear that a person is going that way,
right,
and you are holding on to them, you're breaking yourself up.
Yes.
Yep.
And the pain of a poor exit strategy shows up as a broken life. The problem is people are so ego-minded that they think that's the fault of the other person.
Exactly.
When it's really themselves. I refuse to release. I refuse to let go. I refuse to see the sign of the times. And I want to blame the person for only being who they are when I have the choice to continue to engage or not engage with that person. So the exit strategy of the ones that people used to think are the ones is rarely easy because people want to be the victim instead of choosing freedom and peace.
Okay, so guys, we're going to take a commercial break and we'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to the 5 F's to Love. In our last session of this episode, I just want to say I hope you're paying attention. So if you missed the last session in the episode, you know, Reverend Gaylon really gave us some really foundational things that we need to take a look at. It's how you show up in that relationship or in that marriage, and what you're willing to accept is your role or the role that you played in that relationship. It's like he said, if you're trying to stay with someone who's going in the opposite direction of you, is it them or is it you? And you need to take a closer look at that, at who you are. So again, if you're joining us, I want to need you to rewind because you missed some goodies. Of course, we haven't gotten to Cedric yet. So Cedric, of course, we're going to start off with you. So I want to welcome you back. I want to welcome Reverend Gaylon back, Briant, and Ken, our new addition. So Cedric, we're going to pick up with you on that question. And I know I'm going to have to put the question back out there.
Thank you. Thank you.
So when you have been pursuing someone thinking she was the one, later to find out, Cedric, that she is not the one, how did you communicate your exit?
Stop spending less time and eventually stop returning phone calls.
Okay, that's pretty clear. Ken, what about you?
I told you I'm very big on just transparency and honesty. You know, I'm gonna sit you down. I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna let you know exactly what it is, and that's it. I do a lot of business. I do business all around the world, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's a business relationship or a personal relationship. Communication, transparency is everything. So at the end of the day, if I'm not feeling the situation, we gotta sit down. I'm gonna tell you straightforward.
There you go.
And that's what it is, man. Because that's what my time is massively limited. I have my hands in too many things. I don't have time to waste. I literally worship time. Time is the one thing I can't get back. So,
Chris,
how I want it. So that's how I
So Chris, basically he's saying the same thing that I said.
Right.
We ain't wasting time.
So
on that
Christine,
foolishness.
Okay. I have a question.
Okay, sure. Yep. So Reverend Gaylon, Dr. Spinelli says, Gaylon, how can you create a one? Remember, when people show up, when people show you who they are, believe them.
Okay, so first of the thing, this word create, I'm not talking about Play-Doh. Okay.
That's a good one. That was a good one. I'm sorry.
What I mean by create is this. I'm a believer that you take 100% responsibility for what shows up in your life. That's just my default way of thinking. All right. So let me just say that my statements come out of a context. So that's the first thing. But let's go back to what I stated earlier. I do agree that when people show you who they are, you believe them. When I say create the one, I meant that there's not some universally predestined person that you have to be with out of 8 billion people on the planet. What I'm also saying is that when you're in a relationship with someone, and this is what I tell every couple that I do premarital counseling with, you have an opportunity to create the marriage you desire. Now, how is that different than the relationship you desire? Now, obviously, you got to have a level of attraction. I'm a big believer that you can't control who you're attracted to. You can only control what you do with that attraction. Two totally different things. Two, you have some mutual interest. In other words, you don't have to like all the same stuff, but you got to have some bottom line as far as integrity and things of that nature. How you move, how you get down. If they're too totally out of alignment, then it's hard to have a base to build on. Then when you start talking about creating a relationship that you desire, when I say create the one, I'm only saying it from the standpoint of you're already vibing, you're already in alignment, they're not violating your non-negotiable, unalterable terms, they're checking off the boxes. That's the beginning. That's not the end. Now that gives you the opportunity to build. And from the building, you create the type of relationship that works for the two of you, where both people are getting fed, both people feel as though their needs are being met, and both people feel as though they have dignity, respect, and integrity in the relationship. That's what I mean by create the one.
Awesome.
And nothing else. I don't believe in putting lipstick on a pig.
Thank you for that terminology on lipstick on a pig. Okay, so just to get back some comments from our viewers, Soul Girl says, living intentionally transparent. I love it. Hey, Precious, she's watching. She said, hey, everybody. Carlitos Way said, what do you do when those things don't unfold in order? How do you handle those things that you think are attractive in the beginning, i.e. aggressiveness?
Well, I could tap on that for a second, you know.
And you literally have a second.
Okay, no problem. So real quick, 3 seconds. If I like it in the beginning, I like it in the end. Simple. Because I'm very honest, very transparent. Done.
There you go. Okay, Cedric, I'm going to give this one to you. Gertrude said, why do men use disappearing completely as a way of exiting a relationship? That's you, Cedric. Can you answer that question?
Because they don't feel like arguing. We don't feel like arguing. No. We don't feel like arguing. I'm ready to go. Don't say nothing. Or I'm not with this. I ain't trying to hear it. I ain't trying to argue. So we go.
Okay. I don't even know what to say.
This is Cedric's amazing. It's funny.
Hey,
okay,
when I say that,
it's the truth.
I
mean,
Matt. Hey, Matt. Good to see you, Matt. Yes. Matt.
Okay, so wait a minute. So we got Carlito's Way. She said, for Cedric, please confirm whether or not you use your exit strategy after you've communicated that the current situation is not for you.
No, I'm going to communicate. I'm going to tell you.
Let him know.
I'm going to tell you. Okay? Your toes go over your shoes. I'm not with that shit. Goodbye.
Okay, you know what? I can't take you. Gertrude says, I'm enjoying the show, Cedric.
It's too funny.
All right, Soul Girl says, think versus no. My time is valuable. So she's talking to you, Ken.
Oh yes, talk to me. Think versus know my time.
She says, think versus know my time is valuable. So
So
forget the thinking, going in, do you know? Like, don't play with her. Her time is valuable.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, most definitely. So, it's very simple for me. If you operate in honesty and transparency, everything in life, business, relationships is all beautiful. Because when you operate in this way, again, we're not wasting time. I'm going to tell you exactly who I am, how I operate, what I need. And I will hopefully do the same back. If you do the same back, there's no wasted time.
Reverend
if you
Gaylon,
do not do that, then there may be some waste of time. And that's the big problem when somebody's not willing to just give you that same level of honesty and transparency back. Some people, when you're so honest and transparent with people, and the problems with people,
what does it look like, Cedric? You're the marionette for Ken over there.
No, but it's the truth, because the thing is, I get this a lot. I get this a lot. I get it a lot. And I get it a lot.
All I'm hearing is flowers right now.
They don't think I'm real. They're like, no.
You see with the violin?
If I'm honest and transparent.
Okay, so Latanya says, Cedric, you don't think you should just man up rather than disappear as an exit strategy?
I mean, that's all based on what we feel, both sides, on what it's worth. If I think you're worth it, I'll do that exchange with you. But if I'm not feeling you, I ain't trying to dance. I'm gone.
So you're determining whether she's worth the conversation or not? Cedric?
No, people, connection, vibe, Chris. Come on now. I'm like, if you guys, if she's feeling you, you feeling her, y'all got like a little tension, you work it out.
Or hey, whatever. You don't want to deal with the situation. That's all it is.
I'm gone.
Okay, so I just wanted to know. Precious said that she's cracking up. She thinks this is a great episode. You guys are like, she said,
I don't arguing.
She said you don't feel like arguing. She said, Cedric, he said I'm out. Okay, so I want to say this, guys. It's funny that it is funny and it's not funny. But the one thing I want to know from each of you, and each of you have like about 2 minutes each. When you found the one, like your one true love, how did you show up for them? And I'm going to start with Gaylon, because he just recently got married and he knew like that was the one. So how did you show up for her when you knew that that was the one?
You show up as commitment. You show up as attention. You show up as intention. In other words, what are we going to do with this? What are we going to build from it? You show up as the brothers have been saying already: communication, transparency, integrity, honesty. That's how you show up. Because here's the thing: a man is not going to pursue anything or anyone he doesn't view is worth the pursuit when it's all said and done. If a guy isn't in pursuit at some level, you're not worth it to him.
Right.
So that's the real answer. You show up, even if it's an aggressive woman that's coming to you, you're still going to have a certain level of pursuit in you, because, but if you viewed as not worthy of the hunt, then the guy's not, then the guy's, where's that old movie and book? He's not that into you.
And that is so cool. And you know what, Carlito's, Carlito's Way agreed with you when she said intent is the most important thing. So she agrees with you. And just to let you know, Cedric, Precious says she's done the same thing too. Like, just stop talking to people. So you're not the only one out there that's just basically ignoring people. So now I'm going to come over to you, Briant. When you knew your wife, number one, was like the one, how did you show up for her?
I was open book. I mean, no guards. I had no guards up. Everything, all my guard was down. I was open book. Everything that I had was hers. I mean, I did anything for her, cook for her. I mean, there was nothing I wouldn't do for her.
Okay, that was beautiful. Okay, Ken, when you
but
know
on that, I gotta go. I gotta go, y'all.
Brian, see you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on the podcast.
Good to see you, bro.
For having me. You see, hey, stay good, Cedric. Hey,
yes, sir.
Don't let Cedric spoil you now.
No, keep the line, Pastor. Very loving individual. Don't worry. Now, Cedric's a good guy.
Y'all be good. Good night, Christine.
My brother.
Okay, so Ken, when you found the one and you know that this is the one, how are you going to show up for her?
I'm very simple in how I operate. I just dive all in, at the end of the day, and just dive all in. All into me is 100% no ego. I told you, no ego, no pride, full transparency, and I evolve in everything of all of who I am, and vice versa. Very simple. Sometimes we make things a little too complex. Is for what? If you really want this drink, this is a thought. Is there a mythology to it? No, you sip it. You're gonna go all in. You're gonna sip it. Very simple.
I'm so afraid of you and Cedric together.
Very, very simple situation, because when you make this a little too complex, for what? What are you doing? You're overcomplicated.
Okay, so that's
in a situation, you dive all the way in, and I release absolutely everything.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you that Soul Girl says Anita Baker giving you the best that I got, 24/8.
Soul Girl, yes, that's a proper comment.
She said, Reverend Gaylon from Precious, she said, thumbs up, drop the mic. Like,
hey, Rev, you did kill it, Rev.
She said, Rev, you just dropped the mic. Like,
thank you.
Hey, Nick says, hey, Chris, just landed in AK. Please forgive my tardiness. That's all right, girly girl. You on the road. Gertrude said, thank you, everyone. She really appreciates the show. And Cedric, I'm going to end on you. Like, when you know you found the one, how are you going to show up?
In every way that the brothers already said, but the bottom line, at the end of the day, what it all comes down to is that chemistry, physical, spiritual connection amongst A and B. So you're washing dishes, I walk up behind you, squeeze your shoulders and bite your neck. You're behind the stove, I walk up behind you, hug you, squeeze you, and whatever.
Cedric talking real talk right now. Cedric
little touches of, I'm feeling you, baby. I still love you. I'm still attracted to you, connected to you. That shit is energy. That shit is like for real. So my brother's done said it. So he already know. And So that's how it show. I mean, because if I ain't feeling you, we ain't feeling you. We can't do that. So if we're feeling you, and if I'm feeling you, I'm gonna give you that everyday shit that I'm with you.
Tama said, boy, bye.
Whatever.
She just threw that out there. You know what, Cedric, I'm going to tell you, I think that, and we've talked about this because we're really good friends and we talk a lot. And one of the things that we talk about in relation to relationships is that oftentimes I have a hard time being myself because I'm very concerned about being taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. If people knew how sweet and adorable I really was, then I think it would be a free fall. Right.
They have no idea.
There you go. So I put up this hardcore exterior, like it's no nonsense, because I feel like the right guy will see through that. It's gonna
Christine, I have to tap into that. You know why?
Right.
Because why do that? Do you know what what's your definition of true strength?
What do you mean? Like what?
No, seriously. Like on a real, just on point. What is your definition of true strength? What is your definition of actual true strength for yourself?
My definition of true strength for myself is me being allowed and acceptable to be me, my real person. And what I'm going to say to you
and you're right, and I love it. There's no right or wrong answer. I love that. And to add to that definition, my definition of true strength is the ability to be vulnerable. And you said you put in these walls and you put in all the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what? At the end of the day, if you really want to love and care somebody, listen, be vulnerable. Really love and care.
But you're right.
If you're not giving that, then you're asking, because what the thing a woman wants in a man, they want all of them. They want the vulnerability. They want the true person.
But that's once you get past the sticky. What I'm saying is, I'm not vulnerable with every man that approaches me.
You don't always have to go through the game. Sometimes you could just be direct, and a man could just be straightforward.
Well, y'all just said I was wrong for asking the man he paid child support. No, what's up? We got to pick and choose.
Ken, you a Libra?
You're wrong, maybe. Huh?
Hey, Ken, you a Libra?
No, I'm not a Libra.
You Libra? You Libra?
I'm not either. You know, the thing is that to be vulnerable, man, that's true strength, because when you're vulnerable and you just give your all, no matter if you get hurt, you just get stabbed, you get bruised. When you're truly strong, you're like a membrane. You get stabbed, you get bruised, you bleed. But
okay, but I'm
an Aquarian. I keep it moving. I'm an Aquarian. I keep it moving.
Okay.
I just want to just.
Listen to the rap for a second.
Christine, the challenge comes into play is this:
Mm-hmm.
if I was in the desert and I saw one a pond of water and I was really thirsty, I saw two ponds. One pond is just a pond.
Right.
I'm thirsty, I can get my water. The other pond, I have to walk through a forest of cactuses to get there.
Correct.
Am I willing to walk through and possibly get stung by 50 cactus just to get to the water? The water is great. The best water ever.
Listen to me now.
Okay, it's the best water ever.
Yes.
I don't know if I want to go through the pain of getting to the water.
And guess what? Reverend? I agree with you.
Real boy, you gotta listen to Rev sometimes. The real boy, he's preaching out here. Look at Cedric.
Cedric, whatever. So I'm going to say this, Reverend. You are correct. And with the right person, they will get the ocean. But what I'm saying is there's so many guys out here.
Wait, hold on.
No, wait. But it's so many guys out here who are out playing games. And at 50, I'm not about playing games. If you want to be my friend, be my friend. If you want to be a potential person I'm going to marry, I'm going to date to marry, then say that. But what they do is they try to get in on, oh, you're that kind of woman I'm looking for. When basically they're saying what Cedric is saying. They're out for the ass. Just say you out for the ass. And then I can have an ass relationship with you and I'm okay with you. Right? Because we transparent.
But let me do our best. What we have to do our best to do is, exactly
okay,
right.
Guys, give me 1 second. I got to get caught up on comments because my board is loaded. Carlito's Way says, Cedric, we get that you are romantic and sensual, but outside of that, how will you show up? Okay, but give me a second before you answer that. So Tamara said, yeah, I can appreciate the love. Precious says, I can't. This episode is straight fire because you guys are acting up on here. She said, you all are a great combination.
Yeah, and I really
Tamara Carter said, but I need more.
Yes, there's more.
Okay. Carlito's Way said, hello, say it, Chris. Okay, she was talking about my comment about, you can't be vulnerable to everybody. Okay, and then why she say mosquitoes?
Mosquitoes.
Where the mosquitoes from? She said, say that. And then she said, say it again. So I want to be clear. So Reverend Gaylon, you're correct. A man is not going to want to go through cactus to get to the good drinking water. And I agree with you. But I'm going to say to you, when somebody has drank up all your water to the point where it's almost gone, you become a little protective, okay, of your water.
But darling,
and that's what happens.
I don't mean to cut in, but listen to what you just said. You said when a man, that's not the man you're dealing with. Now you're bringing the baggage to the new man.
No, I'm not bringing the baggage. I'm just being cautious.
That's not only women. That's all of us. Man, we shouldn't bring baggage to women. It's unfair to them.
Okay,
but vice versa. You can't bring all the baggage to them because let me finish real quick because at the end of the day, the terrible man, you gave him all the best of you. No,
that's not what I'm saying.
You gave the good man all the worst of you because
that's your question.
The other man, you have to just have to fix that a little bit.
I just want to be clear. If you touch the stove, Ken. If you touch the stove, if you touch a stove and the stove burn you because the eye is hot, how many times are you gonna go back?
But listen, that's a stove in one house.
That was good, Chris. That was good, Chris.
Stove in the water. It's a different.
What I'm saying is, So moving forward, you approach a stove a different way. You approach it with more caution. So I want to be clear. Anybody would be an idiot. I'm making it simple. Listen. Any person, man or woman, would be an idiot if they continue to allow people to approach them in the same manner and not be cautious. What I'm saying to you is,
I don't have
a problem with being vulnerable, but I'm not going to be vulnerable with you, with Cedric and Reverend Gaylon, just because, I should be. No, you got to earn that vulnerability.
But you were vulnerable at a time for the wrong man.
Yes, when I was in my 20s and a stupid ass.
Listen, you gave that wrong man
in my 20s when I was a stupid ass. You learned.
But I'm with you now. But listen to me now. But now you have to find that balance, because what happens if we're so coarse and we're so this and
right.
You might have you might have the one and you don't even know it. You putting him through hell because
go backwards. I think you went too far. What you don't understand is I'm not putting anybody through hell. You have to earn my vulnerability. That's all I'm saying to you. I'm not putting you through hell. It's not an obstacle course.
I respect that, but
it's not an obstacle course.
Remember, there was a time that
you don't get it.
There was a time that they didn't even have to earn your vulnerability. Remember that?
Okay, but Ken, that was in my 20s when I was stupid. I'm 50. I don't have time for this. So you need to bring it like you said.
I respect it, but
let me jump. When I was talking about the cactus,
go on, Rev,
and the water, I was not saying that people don't have to earn your trust. Correct. I was not saying that people don't have to earn your respect.
Correct.
I'm not saying that people don't have to earn layers of you. I'm not saying that at all. I don't believe that you just meet everybody and it's all on the line. I'm not saying that by no stretch of the imagination. What I am saying is be careful of the unnecessary hurdles put in front of a person to make them earn it. Because guys will interpret that as games.
Yep.
Correct. It's massive games.
So because a guy will interpret it as games, and I might not be good at that sport. Now I might like watching the sport.
Exactly.
But I might not be good at that sport.
I can participate, baby.
Right. Now, there's one thing. Then there's the other challenge, Christine, that we have to be mindful of when women do that. The drama guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the drama guy will engage in that, not because of the essence of who you are, but because they can't be in a relationship without drama.
Exactly.
Okay, so how do you navigate vulnerability versus protecting your heart? I think that's really what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay? That's a different conversation. Now, this is what I would tell a person.
I have the answer.
Go ahead, Cedric, so I can just come behind you with a spiritual
I want to hear this answer. Yes.
I have the answer.
Yes.
I have the answer.
Yes.
You built that up very beautifully. And the answer is simply instinct.
Okay. Cedric. Now I'm going to expound on that.
Instinct.
Okay.
Instinct.
So what?
Hold on. Instinct. And that's not thinking about it, but it's just like reacting because you don't, spirit, you don't see it. Instinct. You don't fall for nothing that you ain't connected with. Won't. But go ahead, though.
Okay, his won't mean he's finished. Go ahead, Reverend.
So how do you again? And I don't disagree with what he said. I would use a different word than instinct.
Okay.
I would use intuition.
Oh, yes.
Okay. But part of the connection to the intuition is based upon one basic thing.
Okay.
I would tell a person the first thing you have to build up in being able to be balanced between being vulnerable and protecting your heart is your own self-image.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why vulnerability takes people out many times is because the self-image is built on those external dynamics.
Yep.
So what I tell people in ministry, and you've heard me say this many times, Christine, is a term I coined. There's something radically right about you.
Right.
So first thing you have to do is accept your own wholeness.
Yes.
Okay. And when you accept your own wholeness, and I'm not talking about from a surface egoic, I got this car, I got this dress, suit, purse, wallet, whatever. I'm talking about I have an inner sense of wholeness and integrity in my spirituality. Mm-hmm. I know who I am, and my wholeness is not based upon external factors. It is not based upon race and gender and orientation and all of that. From my perspective, is because I'm the image and likeness of God. I showed up here with purpose. I showed up here with power. I showed up here with intention, and I'm about my Father's business. Now, When I'm in that level of consciousness or awareness, when I deal with people, now I'm paying attention to my awareness as intuition, which instinct is a part of, to where I know when it's time for me to engage and when I'm not. But one of my spiritual teachers often told me, God bless her soul, she's moved on. She used to say, God is not going to shout over your mental noise. So if you want to learn how to balance it, learn how to quiet your own mind. Go start doing some meditation, start doing some mindfulness, start doing some prayer work and some study, and calm your internal noise down so you can hear the inspiration and intuition.
When did you get that? When did you get it? What year?
Me?
Yeah. When did you get it?
When I got, I'm an A student. I was early 20s.
Exactly.
That was a beautiful story. So like I was saying, when did you get it? When did you get it? You know what I'm saying? You can tell us. You can tell us.
I don't understand the last part you said, brother.
No. When did you get it? It was a beautiful story. I'm trying to figure out when you figured out what she already knew, what she explained to us.
Like when did you get your understanding that you just explained to us?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, you're right. Well, obviously, that understanding has been built up to this moment. I started developing this understanding in my early 20s, age 20 actually, when I started doing a deep dive into spiritual principles, universal laws, and consciousness expansion.
Yeah.
Right now, I realize that that's not everybody's go. But
that's mine, though. That's why I recognize that as mine, like yours.
Okay, so guys, let me go through a few comments before we sign off. Carlito's way said prior history is relevant in all situations. She also said, Reverend, please explain to them prior history is relative.
Prior history, I would wonder what relative means, because here's the thing. I'm not a super fan of Dr. Phil, but one of the things that he used to say on Oprah back in the day was the best determined. Let me paraphrase it. The best determining factor for future action is past action.
Okay, so what she said right here, Reverend, she said prior history is improperly labeled as baggage, as if baggage is not relevant.
Damn.
Now baggage is always relevant.
Okay.
Listen, the Reverend said it. Listen to it now.
Baggage is always relevant, because here's the thing: the difference between a past and baggage is very, very serious. This is the difference between the past and baggage.
Correct.
Past is something you can reference. Baggage is something that still determines your action in the future you're living in.
You hold on to.
Correct.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
Right, and that's the difference.
It's real simple. Past is past, and what you hold on to is baggage.
So, ladies, you need to pay attention to that and understand how you're managing that. And so Tammy says, I don't want to. She said, I don't want mosquitoes sucking my blood going through the forest.
Go ahead.
She said, Ken, so many words, so many directions.
Yes, correct. Happens.
Carlito's way say history teaches us to recognize signs, and signs should not be ignored.
I respect that.
I agree.
Carlito's way. Respect.
Okay.
I agree.
Soul Girl says, I'm learning from experiences.
Respect that.
Carter said, preach. She was talking about Rev, and she said, Carlito's way said, it helps. Maybe you should think of baggage as vintage and not access. Vintage.
Carlos, you might hold on a little too much, miss. You gotta think about it.
She said, ding, ding. I think
I like that.
She said, thank you, Rev.
That's a good
So,
one.
I want to say to you guys, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of 5 F's to Love. Ken, you're an excellent addition to the team.
I do my best. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
I just want to say, I don't know if I can handle you and Cedric. I got to work on that. I'm going to need Rev to stay along. Stay along for the ride. Gertrude said, yes, Carlito is the hard lesson to learn from, but you learn. And that's the truth. So I want to say thank you to you guys. I really appreciate you joining me for this episode of 5 F's to Love. And as we tune out this session, I want everyone to understand that, life is going to bring you a lot of challenges. And one of the things that you should not challenge yourself with is who you are and what you want out of life. So if you found the one, and when I find the one, he's going to get 110% of me, and he's not going to have to go to the forest to get to my water. Water is going to be right there for him. But until the right one shows up, I think they're going to have to see some trees, okay, before they get to the little water. Why? Because everyone doesn't deserve to get your water. And that means men and women. I think sometimes men are just as vulnerable with the idea of being in love with the right person as women are. And they tend to make mistakes, as we all do. It's called life. It's called experiences. And the other thing is, no man can pay for another man's eras or issues that they've embarked upon your life. And I think we all have experiences, but those experiences don't need to turn into baggage that we've carried all along the way. So one thing, if you got anything from this conversation, is that being transparent in who you are, effective communication, and being honest about where you are in life. If you're not ready to commit, then don't lead anyone down that road, giving them the intention or the idea that perhaps you may commit to them at some point. So again, thank you for joining us at this episode of 5 F's to Love, and we'll see you here next week. We have the ladies, Real Talk with the ladies on 5 F's to Love. See you next week.
My name is Christine Burkett, the inventor of the 5 F's to Love. This is a compatibility app. It's an app that gives you an opportunity to rate words that start with the letter F in chronological order of importance to you, to help you find your one true love, your soulmate, and the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So after you've taken the time to rate your F's in chronological order, you send a link to the person, you just met, or the person you've been dating for quite some time. Or maybe it's the person you've been married to for 30 to 40 to 50 years. And then you compare your top 5 F's to find out what things you have in common and things that you may perhaps need to work on. This is taking a simplistic perspective on how to find your one true love, your soulmate.